Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. Well, the Mahagathbandhan alliance in Bihar has not finalized the seat-sharing formula. Even as Congress released the names of 48 candidates it is fielding in the upcoming Bihar election. Friday, 17th October is the last day for filing nominations for the first phase of polling, scheduled for 6th of November. With time running out, the candidates of the Mahagathbandhan may proceed to file nominations and later withdraw their names if needed. Bihar Assembly polls are scheduled to be held in two phases on the 6th and 11th of November. And the first phase will involve voting for 121 seats, while the second and final phases of the elections will involve voting for the remaining 122 seats. The results will be announced on the 14th of November is what we are learning at this point in time. And as per our sources, despite Congress RJD claiming that all is well and no differences on seat sharing on many seats, both parties have fielded candidates against each other. Congress announced Aditya Kumar Raja as its candidate from Lalganj, but soon RJD fielded Shivani Shukla. Similarly, from Kahalgaon, Congress announced Pivan Singh Kushwaha, but RJD named its candidate similar in this case in Sikandra Assembly seat. Anand, my colleague, is joining us on the broadcast to give us more details about this. Anand, there seems to be, some sort of a friction that seems very palpable between the Mahagathbandhan at this point in time. Perhaps a few hours left, or rather the time has gone now, Anand, where they could have in fact put in their nominations.
Yeah, when it look the way in which Congress and the RJD, even as the left parties, they are yet to announce seat sharing formula, despite the fact that today was the last day of filing nomination for the first phase of polling in the state. So clearly, many of the Congress leaders here opined when we spoke about them that why the Mahagathbandhan or the Grand Alliance hasn't announced the seat sharing formula yet for Bihar. They said that in such a big alliances, sometimes something happen, and the same has been witnessed in Grand Alliance this time, as Congress fielded several of the candidates from the seats like Bachwada, from the seats like Lalganj, from seats like Sikandra, as well as in seats of Kahalgaon. So clearly, from all these seats, the other alliance partner, that includes the RJD, that includes left parties, they too have fielded their own candidates in this assembly seat. So clearly, many senior leaders have said that by fielding such candidates against each of our own candidate will harm the Mahagathbandhan in the assembly polls. However, Congress leaders also maintain that once the party and the Grand Alliance, they go into the polls, that is just near the polls, when the withdrawal of nomination will be there. So at that time, once the withdrawal happens, then everything will be fine. And many Congress sources, when we spoke to several of the Congress top sources, they mentioned that they are waiting till the time of withdrawal of candidates, so that there won't be any kind of friendly contest in any of the assembly seats where the Mahagathbandhan candidates are they are fighting elections against each other. Back to you, Vinay.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Anand. At this point in time, Manasvi Thapar, political analyst, is with us on the program. Rajalakshmi Joshi, political analyst, also joins us on the show. Last but not the least, Shikhar Vijayan, political analyst, with us on the program as well. Rajalakshmi, I'll begin with you. Well, this is of concern to me when both Congress and other parties of the Mahagathbandhan are not entirely sure of what the other is fielding. This already is indicative of a dissonance which the NDA definitely can take advantage of.
Hello, Vineet. Yes, very true. As much as the Congress and the RJD may claim that technically it is very much possible that they may withdraw their nominations, and that they may take back their nominations before the stipulated time, it only shows a lack of coordination and a lack of preparation. So I do agree that yes, there are certain factors that are causing this. Like, say for example, there is this factor of Mukesh Sahani, which they cannot ignore. But then it is not as if this is a new entrant, or that they did not know that this is a person that they have to be negotiating with. So it is strange that they have actually walked right up to here without even considering any of this. So there are so many factors that one has to take care of, and which the NDA has done so beautifully. In fact, in spite of the fact that there are again they also have alliance partners. So there also, just look at how well within time They knew how many seats was to be given to which alliance partner, which seats are to be allocated to which partner. And again, so all of this was taken care of. Now within the Mahagathbandhan, there are overlapping of seats, not just between the Congress and the RJD, but with the left parties also. And also again, there is the factor of the Mukesh Sahani VIP party, where there are some last minute negotiations happening. So this last minute thing is something that I find extremely strange, and I don't know when the Congress and their alliance partners are going to learn their lessons. So this all this lack of preparation, then later they all cry foul when the BJP walks away with the major share of the seats. And so, then there are a lot of other excuses that they come up with. So instead of excuses, I wish they had actually given a lot more time to preparation. So this actually, this is so much of a miscalculation, or they definitely shows a very poor coordination among the alliance partners, Vineet.
Manasvi, if you talk about the NDA, the Bharatiya Janata Party has been very, very clear. They're fighting on 101 seats. The Janata Dal United, JDU, is also at 101 seats. The Lok Janshakti Party, Ram Vilas, at 29. The RLM at 6. The Hindustan Awam Morcha at 6 seats. Now, this is something which has been, public for quite some time. What is going on in the Mahagathbandhan at this point in time? The RJD and the Congress, is there some sort of a ego tussle at work at this point in time?
Vineet, I feel this is Maha ego battle which is going on, and there is no clarity on who's going to fight where. I think the common minimum ground which Mahagathbandhan has a Gathbandhan is that we want to oust the NDA. But apart from that, that kind of coordination, that kind of strategy which would be required to win an election is missing, completely missing on ground. And what happens now is, while the filing date is there and now you don't have that clarity, multiple candidates from the alliance are coming up, the voters get confused. And this confusion will not be like this, confusion will be just evaded by tomorrow or day after. This confusion is going to be there because the coordination is not there. For example, if there are multiple leaders who are fighting from the same Gathbandhan in one particular seat, what is going to happen? Even if that particular person given a chance withdraws his nomination, he's not going to campaign for the other person, because at this particular juncture, when the election is there in the next few weeks, there is no consensus. So there is no ground level karyakarta which is going to support the other alliance leader. So somehow that well-oiled machinery which should have been built, I think 3 months ago, till date have not been built up. So this is where the advantage BJP is there. This is where an alliance partner which is so strong at the center, which is well-oiled with money power, well-oiled with karyakarta bal. So all these factors together, and BJP being an electoral machinery which is working 24/7, gives that does not give that edge to any other political party. So now this was a plain battlefield. There was anti-incumbency which was working against Nitish Kumar. There is no state level leader who can take it up for BJP to form the largest alliance as there. Tejaswi Yadav was a forefront runner here, but because of this electoral mismanagement, I think the battle has already been lost by the RJD. So this is where the confusion, which should have been evaded by a larger political party, which is the Congress. They should have come up as big brothers in this particular election and could have supported the alliance in a better formulative way, which could give a tough fight to the alliance. But somehow that has not happened here. So this is something which is, I feel that India bloc is not going to lose because they didn't have the strength, they didn't have the numbers. They are going to lose. If they lose and if they are not going to fairly come up, is because of the mismanagement, a lack of strategy. I think the initial point was okay. The momentum with the vote chori was good. But after that, I don't know what happened in the India bloc, a complete fizzle out from this entire election. Not that the BJP-led NDA's electoral momentum is great. The momentum was great of the India bloc, but somehow when the election is near, just few weeks from now, the election, the D-Day is going to be there. At that particular day, or right now, what we see is there is no momentum from the alliance. So this is something which is worrisome for them. They have to work it out, and this has to happen immediately. The more delay you do in terms of negotiation with your own alliance, I think that is only going to damage the alliance, and the votes, which is anti-NDA vote, is going to further be divided, and that is going to be worrisome for them if they want, if they will to be closer to winning that election. They have to create this scenario wherein clarity to the voters is given immediately. That is, as of now, not there.
All right, Shekhar, what do you make of this? In fact, there have been a number of back and forths within the Mahagathbandhan, the Grand Alliance, so to speak, as such. Rahul Gandhi also had to intervene at one point in time. It is being told through our sources that the tension among some of the party members was palpable. Do you think there's a problem with the fact that RJD's Tejashwi Yadav has been projected as the alliance's chief ministerial candidate, and that was something that the Mahagathbandhan was against, considering the fact that his father reigned upon Bihar at a time when it was a model, when Bihar as a state was a model of corruption. In fact, it was worse than some of the poorest of poorest countries in Africa. What do you think is going on over here? The Mahagathbandhan does not have too many parties. They have the RJD, they have the Congress, they have the CPIM, they have the CPI-ML, and they have the VIP, which is the Vikashsheel Insan Party. So as is the threshold for competition, or the propensity to grab seats is not that high, and if there is going to be this internal dissonance, the voter can see right through it.
Vinny, thank you for having me over. This is a pattern which happens, in every election. You notice that the Mahagathbandhan does not really get their act together. And like you rightly said, there has been a lot of friction between Tejashwi Yadav and Rahul Gandhi, and we have also noticed of late Tejashwi Yadav has been propagated, or they're trying to propagate him as the next chief minister, which I'm sure Rahul Gandhi may not be really comfortable with. The second thing is they're also dealing with an election machine like BJP, which is so consistent, which is come election they're like a rolling juggernaut. They really mean business, and the fact that at one side you have the NDA, which has already come out with a lot of clarity in terms of the number of candidates, the number of seats, whereas here you have the Mahagathbandhan, which is still running around like headless chicken. And for the end user or for the end voter, it shows a lot of confusion. It shows there's no clarity. It shows there is no discipline. It shows they're not taking these elections very seriously, because they really had a good choice here. They really had a good choice against incumbency and against the relevance of Nitish Kumar. But I think they have squandered it a bit, because these optics are very important about how they really play this out, about how they really want to be serious about these elections. But from what we have seen so far, there is no pattern to it. They have just been very indisciplined. They have just been wasting the time about about getting the act together. And I think most importantly, they're not very clear in terms of how they want to distribute the seats between the two major parties, and that is going to really spell trouble for them, because here they're dealing with the NDA, which is very strong, very solid, very consistent, very disciplined, and which knows elections like the back of the hand. And here you have the Mahagathbandhan, which is actually not very sure, in terms of taking decisions. So there has to be more clarity here. And this election, Bihar elections, is the all-important elections of this year. So,
All right. Seems to be a problem with your connection, Shekhar. Let me go back to Rajalakshmi Joshi on this once again. Rajalakshmi, this is pivotal for the Mahagathbandhan. In fact, this kind of a behavior, this kind of a preparation is also what's going to define the seriousness of what they do in 2029. Despite several defeats, it really is baffling to see that the Mahagathbandhan cannot emulate how the NDA works, how the BJP works. Imitation is the best form of flattery. Had they even followed what the NDA does or has done in the past, things would have been a lot more easy for the Grand Alliance.
Well said, Vineet. The least that the Congress could have done is they could have taken a leaf or two out of the NDA's or the BJP's textbook kind of a strategy of how they follow elections. So, if you have seen, right from the Panna Pramukh, the booth Pramukh, all of that is so well taken care of, right? So many days in advance, in fact, months and even say maybe years in advance. So all of that is very well organized in the NDA. So, within the BJP, it's a cadre-based party. So every booth, every ward is taken care of. So all of that, they make sure that all the voters are listed. Now, not necessarily people who have only voted for the BJP. So you can't really make out who is going to vote for whom. But then they make sure that maximum votes are cast in every constituency. So right from there, making sure that every booth is taken care of. So from there, it starts. So then after that, after 6 months after the election, you can't come and say that the vote chori hui. So this preparation, this kind of a dedication towards elections, and also looking into what are the problems of the area, what are the issues that are concerning the people, all of that has to be taken care of. Now here, even the basic thing of who is going to be contesting the election from which seat, that is also not taken care of by the Mahagathbandhan. So it was a simple thing of actually making sure that all the alliance partners are actually, there is a proper negotiation between them. So even, all of that is definitely something that is unpardonable. So you have, in any major election, you have a pre-poll management, you have a poll day management where you make sure that maximum polls are cast. And also then later, how you stitch up all the alliances, that is again another thing of how you form the government, who is going to be made the chief minister, who is going to be given what post. Again, that is another crucial issue. Now here, everybody wants to be the chief minister in the Mahagathbandhan. Everybody wants to get a deputy chief minister post. So all of that, Vineet, could definitely have been taken care of much in advance. This is not, this last minute thing, it always shows a very poor preparation, or a rather a pathetic lack of it. So this is something that I find extremely shaky in the Mahagathbandhan. And then it is sad to see how, later they go on saying that there is vote chori. So this is actually something where they later find excuses. So instead of excuses, I think that preparation should have been there. So this, Vineet, it only shows a lack of dedication where, even the main campaigner of the party, the head of the party, is actually busy with other issues rather than focusing on the most major issue or the most crucial issue of the day.
Right. Let me bring in Manasvi into this as well. Manasvi, it's disappointing again that we all want a very potent opposition in the country. Not only because we want new leaders, but a potent opposition is something that keeps the government in check. But it seems that the Grand Alliance is unable to keep a check on itself if they are going to have competing seats within constituencies. That obviously is not sending the right kind of signal, and voting, as you know, as a pattern, as a behavior, is all based on patterns and optics.
A strong democracy can only be built with a strong opposition. Having said that, I feel that it is very difficult for all of us to say that opposition is not being able to do that. But I think it is even more difficult for the opposition to create that strong strength. Is why? Because they have not been in power since last more than 10 years. And they don't have the funding. They don't have, there are so many issues on ground for sure. But somehow they are not able to create those issues into movements which can turn into votes. That has not happened. Though in bits and pieces, there have been some kind of fillers in the past 10 years, 11 years, what we have seen, that some kind of action have happened, but that has not converted into large-scale votes. But having said that, there is still a very strong anti-BJP, anti-NDA vote bank, which is there. More than 60% of vote bank, more than 65% of vote bank is against them. But somehow that is not a concentrated vote bank which can convert into seats. So that is something which is worrisome for Congress and the regional political parties which are not in power. And when you come with a grand alliance in Bihar, and Congress is not a big brother here. The bigger brother in the state election is RJD, but somehow the negotiation in 2020 also, we saw the run rate, the strike rate of RJD was 50% higher of Congress. Had it been the case, RJD would have fought on a more number of seats. They would have gotten more number of outcomes in favor of them. And Congress's outcome was very less. So this is something which Congress's idea of getting more seats and not converting those into winning seats is also somewhere the negotiation which fails. And RJD on ground has been strong. RJD-Tejashwi Yadav has been considered by the youth and the people of Bihar as the next in line. But if he continues to lose elections in terms, he does not bring his political party into power, and that is also going to be a story which was a chief minister in waitings, and never he could become a chief minister because of wrong alliance partner. And wrong alliance partner, I say that the harsh word of saying that wrong alliance partner is because Congress has to agree to a negotiation, because it's been high time for them, 11 years, 12 years, wherein because of lack of coordination, negotiation, BJP is winning it. This particular election, as of now, prima facie, what we see is that it is a completely a confused kind of election, because there is no narrative which is in favor of BJP, NDA, or the opposition.
All right.
So
Okay, Manasvi, we've completely run out of time, but appreciate everybody who joined in, and of course, we're hoping to see, some sort of a cohesive effort from the Mahagathbandhan when it comes to consolidating, at least how to get along in the Bihar elections. We take a short break now. Be right back.
NDA